Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment of our program brought to you by Tennova Healthcare. They are everywhere. Jefferson Memorial Hospital, La Follette Medical Center, Lakeway Regional Hospital, Newport Medical Center, North Knoxville Medical Center, Physicians Regional Medical Center, Turkey Creek Medical Center. You are never far from a Tennova Healthcare facility. Tennova.com is where you can learn more about the team I trust, Tennova.com and Tennova Healthcare. All right. Bob Shoop was introduced this week as the Volunteers' new defensive coordinator. He had some things to say. Some of these are easier than others. I just want to know if you buy what he's saying or if you sell what he's saying. You can either be the buyer or you can be the Royal Bank of Scotland screaming, sell. All right, here's the first one. Shoop on his goals for this town, the goals for this team. I think this team is poised to compete for SEC championships and playoff berths. Buy that or sell that one?
I'm going to buy it. Because I think they are poised to be able to compete for the SEC championship, and I think if you win the SEC championship, you get a playoff berth. And
you're saying ship and berth as opposed to ships and berth.
And I was about to say, but you know, you extrapolate it down about 5 more years, get another shot, maybe.
Yeah. I think this one's relatively easy. I'm buying it.
I am too, because I think you're going to win the East. That puts you in the SEC championship. If you're in the SEC championship game, you're competing for it, right? Yeah. Unless you're Missouri and
right.
and run out of
I bought it because it was one of his thoughts, I think, and why the Tennessee job was attractive.
Yeah.
It feels like now's the time to be here.
Yeah, it's interesting to watch everyone dive off that Penn State staff. They've been to bowls 2 years in a row. Players leaving, coaches leaving. Interesting situation. And I know Vol fans are really upset for James Franklin.
Yeah.
All right, the next one. Bob Shoop on his style of defense will be an in-your-face style of defense that's built on relentless pursuit and never-ending pressure. Stop the run, eliminating any and all explosive plays, and create takeaways. That's an area we think we can do better in. We want to be disruptive. We want to get after the quarterback. Buy or sell that, and I'll go ahead and tell you that I'm selling it simply because every defensive coordinator in the game says kind of that same. To me, that's boilerplate. I'm not getting that excited.
I kind of broke it down as buy, sell, buy.
Okay,
I mean, if you go through each individual sentence, some of it yes, and then some of it is.
I know that got some people excited this week.
Right.
Like, yeah, it just reminded me of Dave Clawson was hired, and the big catchphrase was, "Oh, he likes to get the ball to playmakers in space."
I've never heard that one.
Yeah, really. Most coaches like to get it to the worst guy on the field in a clogged up area.
Yeah.
So
I still thought that was a bad sci-fi movie title.
So when you read this thing, I'm like, okay, I know what you're saying, but are there any defensive coordinators in the country that wouldn't say the exact same things?
Yeah, I agree.
Probably not. I mean, I would buy because I think that's what he did at Vanderbilt. But yes, you're right. That's what all defensive coordinators.
I'm going to need a definition of explosive plays. If you're going to eliminate all explosive plays, is that plays of 20 yards or more?
Well, that was one of my sells.
Yeah, I mean that's why. Yeah, good luck with that in the SEC.
Yeah.
40 yards.
40 yards.
Well, let me go ahead and put up another. We showed you this last week when we were comparing Jancic and Shoop. And again, I don't want to. This isn't negative about Bob Shoop. It's a heck of a hire. But it's just trying to be realistic. You look at for the last 5 years in terms of, we're going to be relentless pressure, get after the quarterback. His team's had 4 more sacks than John Jancic's. So, and takeaways, Jancic had more. Now, Penn State caused a lot of fumbles last year. But anyway, that's just, to me, what he said is kind of boilerplate material. Most defensive coordinators, if you get them at a press conference, are going to say the same kind of thing. All right, here's the next one. I thought this one was very interesting. Bob Shoop commenting on defenses today, and specifically this was right after Alabama and Clemson had played a national title game that ended with 85 points and 1,000 yards. How you define winning football on defense has changed over the past few years. It's all about third down stops. It's playing well in the red zone. It's about playing well in the clock situation. That's kind of a butchism. And it's about creating takeaways. All right, so his basic gist there is don't judge defenses by the yards they give up anymore.
I'm buying that.
I'm
buying it 100%. Yeah.
I actually called a few defensive coordinators in the SEC for a story I was working on, and they all said the same thing. In fact, one coach said 20 years ago in the game, I might see 4 different formations by an offense. Now I'll see 104. Now, that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but that's what he's just harder to play defense now than it used to be.
Yeah, that's the bottom line. Keep them out of the end zone. I mean, I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, it's tough though. When you're a fan sitting there watching your team give up yardage, it's frustrating. But when you know that it's all about points, You know, you just have to stomach the
Yeah.
yardage stuff and go, well, they scored 6. You gave up 300 yards, but they scored 6 points. So I don't care about the 300 yards.
Well, the national championship game is a pretty good example of that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Two pretty good defense gave up over 1,000 yards and 85 points.
Yeah.
So what is Bob Shoop start on third down for what?
We'll
I didn't see that quote.
we'll have to ask Sterling. All right, when we come back, we look at 5 big prospects, targets to watch for Tennessee on the recruiting trail. Plus, we compare UT's class to those around the SEC. If I could speak, we'll talk about it. It'll be better. Come on back on the Sports Source.